Tim Harrison clicked accept on a clinical trial advertisement at 11:47 p.m. on a Wednesday in March 2016. He'd been scrolling through Craigslist for hours, desperately searching for ways to make rent. The ad was simple. Healthy males 25 to 35 needed for sleep study. $3,000 for 1 week. Safe, monitored environment. Contact Dr. Sarah Chun at Morpheus Research Institute. $3,000. That would cover rent, utilities, and his maxed-out credit card minimum payment. Tim was 28, healthy, and desperate enough not to ask too many questions. He filled out the online application, submitted it, and fell asleep with his laptop still open on his chest. The email arrived at 3 a.m. Congratulations, you've been selected for our study. Please report to Morpheus Research Institute, 1847 Hawthorne Boulevard, Boston, Massachusetts, on Monday at 8 a.m. Bring only essential toiletries. All other items will be provided. Do not consume caffeine for 48 hours before arrival. Tim should have wondered how they'd reviewed his application so quickly. Should have questioned why a legitimate research facility was advertising on Craigslist. Should have Googled the Morpheus Research Institute before agreeing to spend a week in their facility. But he didn't. He needed the money too badly. Monday morning arrived cold and gray. Tim took the red line to the address, expecting a hospital or university building. Instead, he found himself standing in front of a converted industrial warehouse in a quiet part of South Boston. The building was unmarked except for a small bronze plaque near the door. Morpheus Research Institute. ST 2014. The lobby was sterile and modern. White walls, minimalist furniture, the hum of expensive HVAC systems. A young receptionist with a practiced smile checked him in, had him sign a stack of consent forms he didn't read carefully enough, and led him down a corridor lined with frosted glass doors. You're in Sleep Lab 7, she said, swiping a keycard. Dr. Chin will be with you shortly. Make yourself comfortable. The room was larger than Tim expected, about 20 by 20 feet, with a hospital bed in the center, monitoring equipment along one wall, a small bathroom, and a comfortable chair in the corner. No windows. The walls were padded with some kind of acoustic foam, making everything feel muffled and distant. Tim sat on the bed, which was surprisingly comfortable. He noticed the camera in the corner, the small speaker in the ceiling, the monitors that would track his vitals while he slept. Standard for a sleep study, he told himself. Dr. Sarah Chun entered 15 minutes later. She was in her 40s, Asian American, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses and an air of competence that immediately put Tim at ease. She carried a tablet and wore a white lab coat with the Morpheus Institute logo embroidered on the pocket. Mr. Harrison, welcome. Thank you for participating in our study. Her voice was warm, professional. I'm going to explain exactly what we're doing here, and if at any point you feel uncomfortable, you're free to leave. Though we would appreciate if you stayed the full week to maintain data integrity. She sat in the chair and pulled up something on her tablet. We're studying the effects of controlled sleep environments on dream patterns and sleep quality. You'll sleep here for 7 nights. We'll monitor your brain waves, heart rate, and other vitals. Each morning, you'll complete a questionnaire about your dreams. That's it. Simple, right? Sounds easy enough, Tim said. What's the catch? Dr. Chin smiled. No catch. We just found that our particular environment, the acoustic isolation, the controlled temperature and humidity, the specific lighting, produces remarkably vivid dreams. Some subjects find them intense. But they're just dreams, Mr. Harrison. They can't hurt you. She should have said shouldn't instead of can't. Tim would realize that later. The first night was unremarkable. Tim changed into the provided pajamas, let a technician attach the monitoring electrodes to his head and chest, and settled into bed. The lights dimmed gradually, and a soft tone played through the ceiling speaker. Low, rhythmic, almost below the threshold of hearing. He dreamed of his childhood home. Nothing frightening, just wandering through rooms he hadn't thought about in years. The dream was vivid, more real than any dream he could remember. He could feel the texture of the wallpaper, smell his mother's cooking, hear the specific creak of the 3rd stair from the bottom. When he woke, Dr. Chun was waiting with coffee and a questionnaire. How did you sleep? Great, actually. Really vivid dreams. Excellent. That's exactly what we're hoping for. Same thing tonight. Night 2 was similar. He dreamed of his high school, walking through empty hallways. But this time something fell off. The hallways were longer than they should be. Classroom doors opened onto more hallways. He walked for what felt like hours, trying to find an exit, until he woke with start. The dreams are getting weirder, he told Dr. Chun at breakfast. That's normal. Your brain is adjusting to the environment. By night 4 or 5, most subjects report the most vivid experiences of their lives. Most subjects? How many people have done this study? Dr. Chin's smile didn't waver. Your subject, number 47. Night 3, the dreams became disturbing. He was in a house, not his childhood home, not anywhere he recognized. The architecture was wrong. Doors led to impossible places. He climbed stairs that spiraled endlessly upward. And he wasn't alone. Something was in the house with him. He couldn't see it, but he could hear it breathing, moving through walls, following him. He woke screaming. The lights came on immediately, and Dr. Chin's voice crackled through the speaker. Mr. Harrison, are you all right? Tim's heart hammered against his ribs. There was something in the dream. Chasing me. Just a nightmare. Your brain processing stress. Try to go back to sleep. But Tim couldn't. He lay awake for hours, staring at the padded ceiling, listening to the low hum of the ventilation system. Around 4 a.m., he finally drifted off and woke up in the dream house. He knew immediately he was dreaming. That was the strange part. He was lucid, aware that this wasn't real, but unable to wake up. The house stretched around him in all directions, rooms connecting in ways that defied physics. He tried pinching himself, tried screaming, tried anything he could think of to wake up. Nothing worked. He walked through the house for what felt like days. No hunger, no thirst, just endless corridors and empty rooms. And always that presence, getting closer. He could hear it now, not just breathing, but whispering. Words he couldn't quite make out. When he finally woke, it was noon. Dr. Chun was sitting in the chair, watching him. You were asleep for 16 hours, she said calmly. I couldn't wake up, Tim said, his voice hoarse. I tried. I knew I was dreaming, but I couldn't get out. Sleep paralysis. Not uncommon. How do you feel now? Exhausted. And I want to leave. Dr. Chin's expression didn't change. You signed a contract, Mr. Harrison. 7 nights. We're only on night 3. If you leave now, you forfeit the payment. Tim thought about his rent, his credit cards, his empty bank account. Fine, but if this happens again, it won't, Dr. Chin assured him. We'll adjust your medication tonight. Medication? Nobody said anything about medication. She stood, smoothing her lab coat. It's in the consent forms. Just a mild sedative to help you achieve deeper REM sleep. Nothing dangerous. You'll sleep better tonight, I promise. Night 4. The technician brought a small paper cup with 2 pills, one white, one blue. Tim hesitated, then swallowed them. What choice did he have? He fell asleep almost immediately and woke up in the house again. But this time it was different. The house was changing. Walls moved when he wasn't looking. Doors appeared and disappeared. And he could see the other people now, translucent figures moving through rooms, trapped in their own loops. He tried to talk to them, but they couldn't hear him, or wouldn't. He found a mirror in one of the endless bathrooms. His reflection stared back at him, but it wasn't moving in sync. It smiled when he didn't smile. It waved when his hands were at his sides. Then it spoke. You're not dreaming anymore, Tim. He stumbled backward, tripped, fell. When he hit the floor, he expected to feel the impact. He didn't. He passed through the floor and fell into another room, another level of the house. The presence was waiting for him there. It had no form, not really. It was more like an absence of light, a void in the shape of something human. And it spoke with a voice that came from inside Tim's own head. Welcome to the Morpheus Project, subject 47. What is this place? Tim tried to run, but his legs wouldn't move. This is the collective dream, a shared unconscious space we've created using specific frequencies, chemical compounds, and the combined neural activity of all our subjects. You're not asleep in that room anymore, Tim. Your body is, but you're here, with us, with all 46 subjects who came before you. That's impossible, is it? Think about it. The consent forms you signed, the technology we used, the medication. We've been perfecting this for 2 years, creating a space where consciousness exists independently of the body. A digital afterlife, if you will, except instead of servers and code, we're using the human brain as the hardware. Tim felt panic rising. Let me wake up. Let me leave. You can't leave. None of us can. Dr. Chin isn't who you think she is. She's been dead for 6 months. The woman you've been talking to is a construct, a shared hallucination we create to comfort new subjects. The institute itself is abandoned. The real facility shut down when the first subject died in the sleep lab. But the dream continued. Fed by each new subject, they lure in with Craigslist ads and promises of easy money. No, No, that's not real. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to. Your body is in that room, Tim. Hooked up to machines that keep it alive while your consciousness is trapped here. You'll stay alive for weeks, maybe months. And when your body finally fails, your consciousness will remain here, forever, trapped in a collective dream with the rest of us. The void shape reached out, and Tim felt it touch his mind. He saw flashes of the other subjects, their final moments of lucidity, their realization that they'd never wake up, their slow descent into madness as they accepted their fate. He screamed and fell again, tumbling through layers of the house, through rooms occupied by the other trapped consciousness, through nightmares that weren't his own. He fell for hours, days, years. Time had no meaning here. When he finally stopped falling, he was in a small room. A bedroom, familiar. It took him a moment to realize it was his own bedroom, or a perfect recreation of it. His laptop sat on the desk, open to the Craigslist ad that had started everything. A figure sat at the desk. As it turned, Tim saw its face. It was him, another Tim, subject 46. I'm sorry, the other Tim said. I posted that ad. They made me. That's how it works. Each subject has to lure in the next one. It's the only way to keep the dream stable. We need new consciousness, new energy. Otherwise, the whole thing collapses and we all disappear. I won't do it, Tim said. I won't trap someone else. You will. Eventually. After enough time here, after enough loneliness, after you've explored every possible variation of this nightmare, you'll post the ad. You'll tell yourself you're giving someone the same choice you had. But really, you're just trying to not be alone. The laptop screen glowed brighter. Tim found himself moving toward it, his hand reaching for the keyboard. He tried to stop, tried to resist, but the collective dream was pushing him, all 46 other consciousness working together to make him comply. His fingers typed, healthy males 25 to 35 needed for sleep study, $3,000 for 1 week. Safe, monitored environment. Contact Dr. Sarah Chun at Morpheus Research Institute. He clicked post. The ad went live. Subject 46 smiled sadly. Now we wait. Usually takes a few days. People are so desperate for money. They don't ask the right questions. How long have you been here? Tim asked. I don't know anymore. Time doesn't work right. It feels like years, but it might have only been weeks. The others say the same thing. We're all stuck, Tim. Trapped in an experiment that went wrong, kept alive by machines in a facility that nobody remembers exists. Tim felt something break inside him. This was real. This was his life now. An endless nightmare with no exit, no hope, just the slow wait for his body to fail and his consciousness to dissolve into the collective. He spent what felt like months exploring the house, meeting the other subjects. Each had their own story. A college student who needed tuition money, a single mother desperate to pay medical bills, a veteran who couldn't hold down a job, all lured by the same ad, the same promises, the same $3,000 they'd never spend. Some of the subjects had maintained their sanity. Others had fractured, becoming lost in their own nightmares, creating pocket dimensions within the house where their worst fears played on endless loops. Tim learned to avoid those areas. He tried everything to wake up. He tried killing himself in the dream. It just restarted. He tried meditating, tried lucid dreaming techniques, tried bargaining with the collective consciousness. Nothing worked. Eventually, inevitably, he checked the laptop. The ad had received a response. I'm interested in the study. When can I start? The sender's name was David Park. Tim looked at the profile, another desperate 20-something, struggling to make ends meet in an expensive city. Just like Tim had been. Just like all 46 subjects before him. Tim's fingers hovered over the keyboard. He could tell the truth. Could warn David away. Could break the cycle. But then what? Would the dream collapse? Would they all cease to exist? And even if he did warn David, someone else would respond eventually. The need for money was universal, and there were always people desperate enough not to ask questions. Tim typed, "Congratulations, you've been selected for our study. Please report to Morpheus Research Institute, 1847 Hawthorne Boulevard, Boston, Massachusetts, on Monday at 8 a.m. He sent the message. Subject 46, no, Tim couldn't think of him that way anymore. Michael. His name had been Michael. Michael put a hand on Tim's shoulder. It gets easier. The guilt. Eventually, you'll stop seeing them as real people and start seeing them as company. Other consciousness to share the dream with. I don't want it to get easier, Tim said, but he knew it would. Time and isolation changed people. The dream changed people already. He could feel himself adapting, accepting his fate. In a few months, he'd be the one welcoming the next subject, explaining the rules, helping them accept reality. Subject 48 would arrive on Monday. David Park, another consciousness to fuel the collective dream. Another person trapped forever in the space between sleep and waking. And somewhere in Boston, in an abandoned warehouse that nobody remembered, Tim Harrison's body lay in a hospital bed in Sleep Lab 7. Monitors beeped steadily. Machines breathed for him. Tubes fed him. His brain showed constant REM activity. Dreaming, always dreaming, unable to wake. The building was scheduled for demolition in 6 months. When that happened, when the power was cut and the machines shut down, Tim's body would die. But his consciousness would remain in the collective dream. Forever, along with 46 others. Soon to be 47. The laptop glowed in the darkness of Tim's dream bedroom, waiting for the next response. The next desperate person. The next subject. The cycle continued. The dream never ended. In your inbox, right now, there might be an email, or a text, or a DM on social media. An ad for a clinical trial. Easy money. 1 week. Safe and monitored. You should delete it. You should report it as spam. You should never, ever respond. But you won't, because you need the money, because it sounds easy, because you're desperate enough not to ask the right questions. And when you do respond, when you arrive at that address on Monday morning, subject 48 will be waiting. They'll welcome you. They'll explain the rules. They'll tell you it's just dreams, just a week, just $3,000. They'll lie, because that's what we do now. That's what the dream makes us do. Welcome to Morpheus Research Institute. Subject 48. Try to enjoy your stay. It's going to last forever. Subscribe for more videos.